Hello folks, the Y Guy here again. Welcome to my home again. Just a few minutes ago I did a part one of the video, The Y Guy Exposes Sabotage of the Good News. Well, this is part two of that. All right, so listen up. This might be a little bit longer than part one, so I might have to talk a little faster. But on part one, I explained how, in my opinion, how a belief in hell and Hades, and different ways that people believe in hell, not just a belief in hell, but there's different ways that people believe in hell, how that sabotages the good news message, and then how people have substituted, part one, how I talked about how people substituted the word hell for the word Hades, and then they make an excuse for that, and how that is sabotaging the good news message. Well, this one here is going to let's first off start out with how possibly a belief in a devil type character, how that can possibly sabotage the good news message, okay? So, because some people might have it in their minds, well, it's good news that Jesus has overcome the devil, and and the works of the devil. I've heard it all, okay? And they consider that good news, but I'll just listen up, okay? So, because there has been an invention of invention of a devil type character, all right? So it just simply amazes me how most non-hell believers, before I go any further, I remembered at the beginning of the video to ask you to give me a thumbs up on this video, okay? Anyway, it amazes me how most non-hell believers still endorse the devil. It just does. Even though the exact same pagan-minded ancient Latin church fathers are the ones who lied about the word hell, they are the same ones who substituted or inserted the word devil into Scripture. And I'm going to prove it, okay? So where was it substituted instead of translated? All right? According to Latin-based Bibles, here's just one example. There's a lot more than this, okay? But here's just one. While Jesus was speaking to the Pharisees, he supposedly said, according to the Latin-based Bibles, "Your father the devil," blah, 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 okay? However, the original Greek manuscript states, "Your father the ancestor." This was a blatant substitution, folks, and not a translation. Get your hands on the Coin Greek Bible and you'll see I'm right, okay? So how about when the word devil was an obvious insertion when it didn't even exist? It didn't even exist before. From a perverted Latin-based version, it reads as Satan, with a capital S, of course, the devil, of course, roams about like a roaring lion seeking whom he can devour. Notice that word he. I'm going to bring that up here in a minute. Here's the problem. They completely changed the context of this verse when the original Greek manuscript states, "Your adversary roams about like a roaring lion seeking whom it can devour." Did you notice that word it instead of he? Okay? They changed the context, okay, of us being aware how some people will be adversarial, and I'm saying people, okay, will be adversarial to the will of God. They changed it into, "Watch out for the devil," roaming around like you get it, right? Okay. Not only that, the term the devil was never there in the first place, okay? And not only that, they erroneously and ignorantly gave a devil the name of Satan, thus perversely changed the word it, whomever or whatever is adversarial, into a he. Do you see it? As a name for a living spiritual entity representing a single invisible evil enemy. So with these precedences, I've proven, at least to myself, that a precedence was established which promotes a pagan agenda. Thus it demands further scrutiny into all the other places where the word or concept of a devil type character is implied. That's exactly what I did in my latest or my newest book, No Love, No Fear, No Love, No Fear. Notice how it's spelled. And no, that's not me. I wish I had that much hair. Here's the back cover. Anyway, check it out. I'll leave a link to Amazon down below, the Show Me More section. So, anyway, how does a belief in a devil sabotage the good news message? Well, I'm so glad that you asked. The majority of people who believe in hell also believe that a devil rules it. You can't deny that. It makes no sense to them, nor to me, how you can eliminate hell, the devil's kingdom, yet still endorse a homeless devil's existence. In the minds of the majority, God equals heaven, and the devil equals hell. Get it? That's not a stretch. So now let's dig a little deeper. Since there is no hell, in the minds of most non-hell believers, all will be saved, right? And reconciled to God. Thus, this would have to mean that a devil is reconciled as well, right? Folks, it's hard enough to convince the average Christian and secular person that God's love is going to reconcile all of mankind. But now you've included a devil into the mix. You know, it's bad enough to make hell-believing Christians feel as if people will be getting away with all the crap that they do, since all people are going to be saved anyway. Thus, according to them, there was no need for Jesus. I've heard that 1,000 times. Now you're telling them that the worst enemy of God's and of all of humankind is going to get away with everything as well. That is a hard pill to swallow, folks. This example is only but one way of how the good news message is being sabotaged by a belief in a devil. It doesn't even include how it makes God out to be an incompetent fool for letting an invisible devil roam free in order to purposely go against his will and harm his children. How can we be expected to have a confidence and a trust in a God like that? Well, think about it. Well, lastly, let's talk about the existence of demons. Oh, crap, here he goes again. Okay. You know, I'm going to approach this issue just a little bit different, all right, from a different angle. Jesus said that out of the hearts of men come evil, and in most contexts within Scripture, the word heart and mind are interchanged and are synonymous with one another. Now we have to include the Koine Greek translation, the Koine Greek translation for the word spirit with a small s, okay, as meaning attitude. So where does the attitude originate? Answer. In the hearts and minds of an individual, okay? It's not a stretch to say that out of the attitude of men come evil, since it's also written that out of the minds of men come evil thoughts. Common sense. So when you read in Scripture the term evil spirit or spirits, in context it's simply not talking about demons, but about evil attitudes from the hearts and minds of men. Check out the context when reading in Koine Greek, of course. Also, a sane person can't deny that an evil attitude could easily be attributed to a mental illness. At the time that Scripture was written, those mental sicknesses didn't have a diagnosis or names to identify them. So these issues were described in my Koine Greek New Testament as animistic influence and or animism. Second set of notes. In every place, sorry about my arm. Okay? In every place where animism is implied in Scripture, the ancient Latin church, animism is actually used in my Koine Greek New Testament. The ancient Latin church perversely used the word demon instead. For credibility's sake, okay, think about this. Those who did this, those who changed it to demon, you know who I'm talking about. Those same people who inserted a devil and hell into Scripture via the Latin Vulgate, circa 440 AD. They're the ones who have planted their pagan seed of demons into your minds. Excuse me. Kind of cold. At some time, we've got to stop drinking their pagan Kool-Aid. We just do. So how does a belief in the existence of demons sabotage the good news message? Well, looking over your shoulder for a variety of evil spirits is not only distracts a person away from Jesus onto something else, but it also hinders your love for others. Since, think about it, they may be possessed by evil spirits or demons, and you don't want to chum up with them, now do you? Not much love in that. A belief in demons is used far too often. I've seen it happen over and over again. It's used far too often as an excuse to judge others and to walk in fear. So no good fruit comes from such a belief, and most certainly a belief in demons, evil spirits, do not produce the fruit of the Spirit of God. It doesn't. I'm coming close to a close. Let's recap how a belief in hell and Hades, like I did in the last video, and a devil and demons sabotages in the minds of the majority, okay, the loving good news message of Jesus. So apply some critical thinking for just a moment. Let me get this right by asking, where is the good news in God creating a hell to eternally punish people for a short lifetime of sins that Jesus supposedly paid for? Where is the good news in that? And where is the good news in why God created a devil to run a kingdom that eternally punishes people for a short lifetime of sins that Jesus supposedly died for? So, okay, paid for. So how do you apply the good news to how God created demons to aid a devil in tormenting people, if not for eternally, then temporarily? I might add that same devil and demons would have to freely roam the earth, since there is no hell, according to non-hell believers. Okay? So why is that? Why is it that the testimonies of those who have visited hell, who say they have, or who have had an encounter with the devil, or who have had experienced what they consider or call demonic activity, why do these testimonies only come from the tiniest select few of the world's population, rather than from the majority, since the devil and demons are invisible and are able to freely, I gotta do this, freely roam the earth? Okay? Let's be honest. On the average, most people who believe in hell, devils and demons, are not basing any of it on real evidence, but only on a belief. Let's be honest about it. Are you honestly saying that your evidence are words written by men long dead from a different language and culture, later translated from copies of translations of copies of translations? That's not evidence, my pagan-minded friends. So in closing this video, all you're doing is sabotaging the good news message by distracting people away from Jesus and causing them to focus on ancient pagan beliefs. Paul warned us about this. Quote, "But the Spirit explicitly says that in latter times some will fall away from the faith, paying attention to deceitful spirits, attitudes, and doctrines about demons." You know, it's my strong opinion that Christendom in general has indeed fallen away from the faith in the completed work of Jesus. How could it possibly be completed if the majority of people are in hell? For one example, or if a devil and demons are given the freedom to undo the work of Christ, even temporarily or for a short time. There's no good news in any of that. Far too many Christians are paying attention to deceitful spirits, attitudes, teachings, and doctrines of men about demons. Unfortunately, this includes those about a devil and or demons. Unfortunately, this also includes those who no longer believe in hell, yet believe in the completed work of Christ. It doesn't add up. It just doesn't. We'll scroll down to the Show Me More section. And again, I'll remind you, go down to the Show Me More section and check out the link for the 3 books that I have published. And consider looking me up on Facebook. And if you are going to leave comments on this channel, make sure they're applied or I'll delete them. Simple as that. Let me see what else. Subscribe if you haven't already. And consider becoming a Patreon supporter of this channel if you appreciate what I'm doing. Thank you for viewing.